The brain starter here is a review from before, and it's asking you to convert 60 degrees into radians. Pause your video now so you have a chance to do it. I'll give the answers in 3, 2, 1. For 60 degrees, when you're converting it to radians, you have to multiply it by pi over 180 degrees. And what happens here is the 60 and the 180 cancels out to 1/3, and you're left with pi over 3 radians. Today we'll be looking at how to calculate arc length, which is the curved length around the edge of the circle. And the formula for arc length is S, the arc length, equals the radius of the circle times theta, the angle. The angle is measured in radians. This is very important. If they give you an angle in degrees, you first have to convert it to radians. Now, one special note is what happens when the radius equals 1, when you have the unit circle. Well, in this, you'd have the arc length equals 1 times theta, or the arc length equals the angle measure in radians. Now, of course, remember, this is only true when the radius equals 1, but it is still an interesting case. These example problems ask you to find the arc length when you're given the angle and the radius. In the first one, the angle is pi over 4 radians and the radius is 5 centimeters. The second one, the angle is 60 degrees and the radius is 2 inches. Pause your video now so you can complete these two problems. I'll go over the answers in 3, 2, 1. For the first problem, your angle, theta, is pi over 4, and the radius is 5, so you just have that the arc length equals 5 times pi over 4, or the arc length equals 5 pi over 4. Plugging that into a calculator, you see that the arc length is about 3.9 centimeters. For the second problem, you have an angle of 60, and you have a radius of 2, so the arc length equals 2 times 60. Which of course means that the arc length is 120 inches. Now, I will tell you right now that I made an error in this problem. Pause your video to try to figure out where I made the error, and a question is going to pop up asking you what the problem is. I'll go over the solution in 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you all noticed I made a problem right here when you use 60 degrees, because this formula says that theta has to be in radians. So, let's try this one again and erase this, shall we? Alright, first off, I know that 60 degrees is equal to pi over 3 radians, because we did that during the brain starter. So, the arc length should equal 2 times pi over 3. Or the arc length is just simply 2 pi over 3. Which, if you plug that into a calculator and round it, you get approximately 2.1 inches.